Okay, dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we'll be looking at the developers notes which came out yesterday. It is my first time ever making a video on developers notes, so let me know in the comments if you would like me to make more of these. So I'm not sure if the entire developers notes has sunk in on you yet, but it took me a while to process everything. The first change and one of the biggest changes is the item strengthening system. They are going to phase out Asgard Ores, Awakened Asgard Ores, and Transcendent Stones and combine these into one single currency tentatively known as Ores for now. And these will be your main currency for item upgrading. So we have seen the developers simplifying the currency system by removing Awakening Shards, Shadow Ores, and also combining Souls and Rare Soul Essences into just Soul Essence. Honestly, to me it is a good thing because it really makes things less complicated. Every time I want to start a new game, it is the sheer amount of resources that actually scares me and makes me not want to go on. So this is a good direction for sure. I'm not surprised if in future jewels may also get the same treatment. Next would be that they are removing the entire item transcendence system. Remember, currently we have to power up items to +5, awaken them, power it up to +5 again, and repeat for 5 other copies of the same item for S tier items. And this was a graphic I made for my Beginner's Guide series volume 5, which was going to be released but will be completely revamped. So the entire item upgrading process is tedious, even though I must say they have increased the accessibility to S tier items via events and synthesis. So it's simply going to become a regular power-up system whereby you will probably simply use the new ores with gold to power up an item from 0 to +10. Simple. So you basically just need one base copy instead of 6 copies and just need lots of ores and gold, since we are not too sure what the cost will be. Which also lets me realize if you were to salvage one unused +10 dragon item now to get 6 +5 copies, you can basically get 6 +10 copies with the new system if you have enough resources. I mean, that is freaking insane, okay? I recommend only salvaging your unused and extra dragon items simply because we do not know the cost involved. If it is going to be expensive, at least you still have your team and also have a lot of potential +10 dragon items lying around in your inventory. I cannot guarantee if item salvage will still be the same because we are no longer breaking down items into previous duplicates after the update. Then the third part of this new system is the possibility to upgrade your D tier item into an S tier and C tier to S tier, so on and so forth. So currently there's actually no way to do this because even with synthesis you can only upgrade a D tier to a B tier, for example. But there is no way you can trade in a fallout of old item for raid items. With this new function, you can upgrade those low tier items into an item of a much higher tier. This is the controversial part of the developers notes because it makes it look like all the hard work veterans and old players have put in become irrelevant instantly. However, do take note that the cost of this is still unknown, and coupled with the tip to get many dragon items I mentioned earlier, old players still benefit a lot. Also, if the developers indeed make this new one-click upgrade at average cost, then you can be sure that this is merely paving way for Mythical Awakened items. So in case you have not heard about the Mythical Awakened items, it already exists in Korea server, and these items basically are Mythical Awakened from +10 S tier items. In Korea server, they are still using our Transcendent systems whereby you actually need 6 +5 copies to get a +10. So if you think about it, what if that was the system used in our new world? Our hard-earned +10 dragon speed items will become +0 mythical dragon speed items to be powered up to +5. Thereafter, you need 5 other +5 copies of that mythical awakened dragon speed item to get one +10 copy. And this is only one copy. You would have used up 6 +10 dragon speed items just to get one +10 mythical awakened dragon item, wiping out 75% of your arena team's weapons. So if you do need 6 to 10 copies for all your arena units, does that mean you're gonna need 36 +10 dragon spears? Now, aside from whales, who in the world will have that many? So my thoughts about this, taking into consideration about the removal of item transcendence, is that the game is paving the way for a much bigger weapon system, but removing the ridiculous resource drain that will come along with it. So the ease to upgrade a D tier item to an S tier item is definitely gonna help even veterans to get prepared for that. And if you want to salvage your D tier items, I think doing so would be good to prepare for this new item upgrade quality of life update. The second biggest change would be the removal of World Boss and Smart Mode in the 1st August update to give way to a new raid mode. I mean, it's really sad, which is ironic, I know, because I haven't been playing World Boss ever since Siege Defense was launched, and I'm probably one of those absent players who caused this to happen. But it's still really fun once in a while, and I know many players' accounts like my dear friend Holy Blonde Ruler who are affected because they have dedicated their whole 7-night career for top World Boss scores, so this is a huge hit. And I personally thought Smart Mode was a good way of resource gathering. Surely you won't play it more than once, but those currencies are really sweet, and are we not going to purchase Gold Ore anymore? So there are gonna be difficulty drops in Smart Mode floors after this week's update, so if you haven't cleared Smart Mode, you will want to do so after the update. World Boss will also have more rewards, so you can make use of its final moments to get PvE items, and all Smart Mode related shops and World Boss shop will have a 20% discount, so make the most of this to get whatever Gold Ores, raid selectors, accessories and PvE items you need. In any case, the removal of the two mods will result in this new raid mod, which is meant to let players acquire items directly without any sort of currency spending. So hey, they just killed off 8 currencies in this move alone. If you observe this sample image provided, you will see that the world bosses have gotten new job appointments and are going to be reshuffled to become raid bosses. You can get items, jewels and accessories respectively from each raid, which have 7 floors each. You will need to clear the floors repeatedly to fill up a gauge, and once the gauge is filled, you can claim the reward. There is also an auto clear system here, however I'm not too sure how this works. Do we press auto clear and wait for a fixed amount of time and press auto clear again and eventually the gauge will fill up? Or do we fight the boss repeatedly successfully until we get the reward along with the auto clear button, such that every auto clear will guarantee a reward? There is also an extra raid, which is a random raid occurrence that happens by chance according to what they said, and they will give a lot of fantastic rewards. Furthermore, we are going to get a hero remake along with the update, so it is someone from the Dark Magic Research Tower group, and my bet is on Sebastian, who was clearly crap when he made his debut, and even after so many Tartarus changes he is still crap. So this is really his time to shine. Let me know in the comments who you think it might be. The third big change is the introduction of Auto Adventure. Now before you start wondering how this will affect current farming, I think it will not. Simply because Auto Adventure can only be done up to 100 attempts per day, so essentially it is giving you an extra farming opportunity without actually requiring you to let your game run. It will also seem from the screenshot that it has an auto clear system as well, so you instantly convert keys into rubies, fodders, items and pet drops, depending on the map you auto clear in. Also, they highlighted that if you have already cleared 820 normal, then the rewards will be adjusted to the level of 820 normal and not simply 820 easy, which is a good thing if you already cleared your normal difficulty, since it also means that auto clear could potentially give you better rewards. But it is unclear if the key cost will be kept the same, because if it is the same, then assuming we want to auto clear 820 and we have already cleared 820 normal, it will cost 3 keys per attempt, and this will amount to 300 keys used up in an instant. I don't think hot time affects the results of this auto adventure, because the point of it was for players who do not have time to acquire resources, so it wouldn't make sense to use hot time with this. This auto clear will also have its ways to give you rubies. It could end up giving the same amount as the number of runs you need for regular farming. So if you use 7 keys to level 4 fodders from level 1 to 40 to get 12 rubies in Asgard, then 100 keys will give you 168 rubies? Well, I don't know, it seems pretty little, but we will find out soon. The last part is about the fusion of the 1 target and 5 target soul skills due to Shane's existence. I honestly think this is a great change, so we can actually utilize both Taka and Shane at the same time, but for different purposes. Yes, you do still need Taka for some guild dungeon floors, even though Shane is an overall much better PvE unit after the attack increase cap has been lifted. So let me know what you guys think of the changes, and if this video actually gave you some new insight on them. And remember to like and subscribe to my channel to keep updated and to do well in 7 nights. Thank you so much and see you!